Okay, if everyone would like to take their seats. Okay, my name is Sean Lewis, and I am the President and CEO of the Otsego County Chamber of Commerce. It is my honor to welcome everyone here tonight for the 2025 Candidate Forum. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to recognize and thank the team that put in so much work to make this event happen. First, our co-sponsors, Hartwick College and SUNY Oneonta, who provided our panelists for this evening. Thank you. They have given of their time, their effort, and their resources in pulling this show together. The two representatives of the League of Women Voters who have graciously agreed to be tonight's moderators. Also, tonight's debate will be captured and live streamed by the folks at Otsego Media. And of course, Jeff Doyle and the entire crew here at Foothills for being such kind hosts. I would like to thank you all for this nonpartisan collaborative effort. Go ahead. Of course, this evening would not be possible without the participation of the candidates who will take the stage this evening. And of course, you, the citizens in the audience, who care enough about your local leadership to be here tonight. We thank you all. And now to begin the program this evening, I will hand the microphones over to our moderators, Stephanie Bauer and Huddy Podolsky of the Cooperstown League of Women Voters.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. My name is Stephanie Bauer, and I'm here tonight with Huddy Podolsky down here in the front row. She'll be our timekeeper. I gotta get my notes here. I'm emphasizing that we live in Cooperstown. We're members of the Cooperstown League, but this is not a League of Women Voters event. So we were invited just because we are knowledgeable and seasoned moderators, and we're committed to keeping everything fair for the candidates. I think the event was planned beautifully by the Hartwick Institute of Public Service and all the students involved there. And their goal is to give each candidate an equal opportunity to share their ideas and for you to have an opportunity to hear directly from those who are running to represent you. Democracy really is participatory, and I think you had other things you could have done tonight, but you chose to be here. So this is a form of participation. And I really want us to be respectful of the candidates who are running. They've done a lot of paperwork and a lot of soul searching to put themselves in front of you to be able to give us choices when we go to vote and to the ballot box. So I'm going to give you a little rundown of how the evening's going to look. We have great signage, so you'll know who's here, who's sitting here, and that will help you keep track of who you might want to vote for. Each race has about 30 minutes on the stage. Let's see. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement. That's a free pass for them to say whatever they want to say to convince you to vote for them. Then we have our panelists. I want to introduce our panelists. We have, where are you? Oh, here you go. Cooper Cohen and Charles Miller, and they will each be asking a question of the panelists, and the panelists will have 2 minutes to respond and a minute to rebut each other's comments, not talking to each other, but talking about the ideas. After that portion is finished with our panelists, it opens to questions from you. So in order to be able to ask a question tonight, you have to put your name in the box saying that you're interested in asking a question. You'll have 30 seconds. One of our microphone runners will come. I'll call your name. You'll stand up. You'll get a microphone. You can ask your question. And then each candidate will have 2 minutes again to answer your question for you. As the night goes on, if you think of something that you want to ask or a topic that perhaps hasn't been covered, the box is still right in the back there, and you can go put your name in it even during the questioning time. After everybody's finished, the next race candidates will come and take the stage, and we do it all over again. When it's time for the audience questions the first time, I'll go over the rules for that. Our first race is for an Oneonta council member from the 7th Ward, Mike Forster Rothbart. Mr. Rothbart?
Hi.
There you
Thank
are.
you.
Hi. Have a seat. Mr. Rothbart, we start off with your 2-minute opening statement.
All right. Thank you all for being here, I want to say, and thanks to League of Women Voters and the Chamber and Foothills for hosting us. My name's Mike Forster Rothbard. I'm currently serving the 7th Ward as City Council member, and I hope to continue doing that for the next couple of years. 7th Ward, for those of you who don't know, is that neighborhood around West Street below Hartwick and Suco, and about a third of the students in the 7th, about a third of the voters in 7th Ward are students. So I've lived in Oneonta for 16 years. I raised my 2 kids in our house on Spruce Street. My background is in marketing and urban planning. I worked for a decade for SUNY Oneonta, and now I run my own business. I've served for a decade on the Oneonta-Susquehanna Greenway Committee and for 5 years on the Environmental Board. And the reason why I wanted to do this and want to continue doing this is because, honestly, I care deeply about Oneonta. And I feel like I learn about its problems, and I'm good at finding effective solutions. There are 3 things that I have been doing, plan to continue doing, to be here for the people, to make Oneonta a more welcoming community, and to push Oneonta to look towards the future. I'll talk briefly about each of those. I'm an advocate for my neighbors, for my neighborhood. People complain about not having access to city government, and I've been working to fix that. Making Oneonta welcome, by that I mean welcome for everyone. You know, young or old, whether someone moved here from Milan or from, from Milan or Milan. That's what I'm trying to say. Wealthy or not, people should feel safe and secure and welcome here. And looking towards the future, we want Oneonta to be a destination, a place where people come because of, we know, we don't market it well enough, but we know it's a beautiful city, thriving arts and music, but we don't brag about ourselves enough. We need to get
Rathbard,
tourists here, and thank you guys all. I hope you will give me your support.
Your 2 minutes is up. I forgot to mention that we have a timekeeper and introduce her to you, Hoodie Podolsky, right down there. And she's trying to keep us on the 2-minute wheel. And I know you have, oh, you can't see her? She's right in the front row.
I should tell you for future reference, it's hard to see your signs from here.
Would it be better if she moved to the side?
Maybe, or a little further to the side, maybe, I don't know.
Okay, we'll try another one. So I know you have prepared things. Maybe you'll be able to sneak some more of your comments in depending on the questions, right?
Yes.
You know, ask good questions and you'll be able to keep going on the theme. So we're going to go to our panelists now. And Cooper, do you have a question now for Mr. Rathbart?
I do. Kind of going off of something from your introduction, you know, you talked about making sure your residents feel represented. You know, how would you ensure that your residents feel heard and represented in the council's decisions?
Thanks, Cooper. That is an important question. I honestly believe that one of the city's government's biggest flaws is poor communication. I find that so often people don't know about things enough in advance, or people find out something only because their neighbor tells them as opposed to hearing from the city. The city is starting to do better at that. But communication really has to go both directions, right? The city has to be receptive to input as well as getting its message out. And I try very hard, and I think successfully, to do that in my neighborhood. We have ward meetings most months, and when we have a ward meeting, it's not just me telling people everything I know. I'm really there to listen. And I also believe that communication requires not just being willing to listen, but willing, like, listen to understand, not just listen so you're ready to respond to somebody. And so, you know, people change my mind. I don't know everything. I mean, the fact of being on city council is about knowing a little bit about a lot of things, but there are always experts there. I think currently on city council we're lucky because we have people from a lot of different areas of expertise and we work well together. And that's one thing that a lot of candidates don't talk enough about if they haven't served before, is that it's not just what you want to do, it's how you do it. And the process is really important. And if you've watched city council meetings, you've probably seen our bad behavior at some point. But despite that, it's not a partisan body. We make decisions based on our beliefs, but it's not like Republican, Democrat. It's people really working together to find a common solution. And that's why I like being on city council, and I wouldn't want to be like at a higher level, because honestly, I think everybody here, everybody in the council has the best interests of Oneonta at heart. Thanks.
Okay, Charles.
You mentioned partisanship and bringing community together, and my question is, what are your priorities for strengthening neighborhood connections and safety?
Sorry, Charlie. I didn't.
Neighborhood.
What am I?
What are your priorities for strengthening neighborhood connections and safety?
Neighborhood connections to the city
And safety.
and safety.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of ways I could go with that, but I think the first thing, did that say 30 seconds? Oh, okay. The first thing is just being out there in the community. I mean, my background is mostly in photojournalism, and I learned a long time ago that if I go and talk to the head office of an organization, like, they don't really know what's going on in the field. And if I go to sort of the regional director, they have some idea, but like if I go and I talk to the janitor, like, they know exactly where everybody is and everything that's going on. You know, and it's like that in the community, right? Next week I'm gonna go and I'm gonna spend a full shift, 24 hours at the fire department to really understand what it's like to be in the fire department. I'm kind of looking forward to it and dreading it, but it's hard for us to make decisions on council about things like overtime without really seeing how it works in real life. And as far as your other part of the question was safety, I think, I feel like we are a pretty safe community, but there's many ways of being safe. Safety is not just crime, it's also a feeling of safety. And so when I talk about being a welcoming community, I want people to walk down the street and feel like they belong here. And unfortunately, I have some neighbors who say they don't go down to Main Street anymore because they don't feel safe there, and that makes me feel really concerned, because we all belong here. And I think I've answered it.
Okay, now is time for, I'm getting the box for questions from you.
And while they're coming up, I should just note that I was running against a neighbor of mine, Carolyn Marks, but she dropped out of the race a few weeks ago, for those of you who don't know. So that's why I'm here by myself.
Oh, thank you. That might have been confusing for people. Thank
Yeah.
you. Mr. Lewis.
This is what happens when no one puts their name in the box. So there's still time for other races. Michael, what do you feel is the most urgent issue confronting the city of Oneonta today?
There are three things that I would say are most urgent, and I'm not sure, depending on your perspective, which in terms, because you can count urgency in terms of importance or in terms of timeliness. In terms of importance, I really think our downtown, helping our downtown thrive is essential. And when I talk about helping Oneonta think towards the future, really what I'm talking about is, you know, it's so easy for people to just like what makes Oneonta special? We know what makes Oneonta special, but somebody who's driving from Albany to Binghamton has no idea, and we can fix that. I think we did a good job this summer with our arts program. We didn't do as good a job promoting it, but there were amazing concerts that I enjoyed and a small group of other people enjoyed, and I think we'll build on that. I heard a lot of great feedback about the bus program that we did with free buses from the baseball park to Main Street, and that brought people who may not have come here, come downtown, to our downtown. It was good to see the numbers and see that was successful, because we weren't positive it would be. But they want to repeat that next year, so that's a good sign. We also need to think regionally. I mean, you look at a map and you see how the city of Oneonta is an island in the middle of the town. And it's foolish for us to try to make decisions about the city without considering the town, and the other way around. So we've improved our cooperation, but it needs to continue, and depending who's elected, I'm looking forward to working with you guys.
Since there was only really one card in the question box, that's the only question we got. Hoodie, how are we doing on time? Got another 5 minutes. Good, I'm gonna go back to Charles. Okay.
What role do you think the council should play in addressing housing, safety, and most importantly, infrastructure?
I'm sorry, because the echoing, it's hard for me to hear you.
What role should the council play in addressing housing, safety, and infrastructure?
So I have a background in urban planning. I'm the only one on council with that background currently. And so I think a lot about space. And you know, urban planning is sort of thinking about how we want to design, physically design the shape of our community. And affordable housing is so often misunderstood. Affordable housing just means that people don't pay more than about 30% of their income, whether they have a lot of money or not very much. And so no one single solution works for affordable housing. You have to have many different solutions. One of the things that we did this past year that I'm most excited about was the new ordinance about accessory dwelling units, which means that any property owner can take their barn or garage and convert that into housing. And so that's a good way to integrate smaller and less expensive housing into the neighborhoods. You also need larger solutions. There are vacant lots in the city. Another experiment we're working on with the Housing Commission is to take a lot and make it available at practically zero cost to a developer if that developer commits to building housing on that lot. It's a tenth of an acre. It's on West Broadway. You know, and hopefully that will build on itself. Another thing we've been talking about recently is community land trusts, which are a model where an organization owns the land and people just own the houses. That's another great model. There are other parts of your question, but I think I heard something.
Yeah, safety and housing and infrastructure.
Oh, so infrastructure in general. I hate to say it, but our infrastructure has a lot of serious problems. And we have, I think, 67 miles of sewer pipes. A lot of them are 100 years old. The water and sewer pipes are breaking all the time. We need to invest in our future. We can't really build our house of our city without a strong foundation. And so we need to continue to invest in that kind of infrastructure. Thanks.
Okay, Cooper, you got one more?
Yeah. So obviously, you're running for the 7th Ward district, and I would expect your focus to be on the 7th Ward, but like, how would you balance your own ward's needs with the broader interests of the city?
I feel fortunate that Oneonta is a small enough place that the needs of our neighborhood are pretty consistent. I say our neighborhood because the three of us all live in that neighborhood, are consistent with the needs of the greater city. And I mean, I think those are economic growth, jobs, all the kind of infrastructure like the sidewalks, so on, that make a neighborhood comfortable, safe. I'm excited about the money we're putting in the budget for bike lanes, for the Complete Streets program on Main Street for next year. I'm trying to think of any examples where the neighborhood interests conflict with the rest of the city, and I'm really not. Like a big city, like New York City, like Brooklyn might be fighting against the Bronx for money for funding, but here we're 4 square miles. We're all in this together. Anything else?
Thank you. Thank you. I think that was a really great start.
All right. Well, thank you. Did you just show me the sign that I have 1 minute left? All right, I'm going to take a little bit of that to just say, because I ran out of time at the beginning, that where was it? Oh, we are the biggest city in 4 counties. We don't think about that often enough. And so we are already a destination for people from, say, Delhi or Lawrence, places nearby. But we could be a destination for people from much further. I was recently back in Michigan where I grew up, and my brother took me to this mountain bike course. There used to be sort of this deserted state forest that nobody really visited very often. And when we pulled in the parking lot, there were like 40 cars, half of them from out of state. And I talked to some of these people. People had come from 2 hours away to drive to this like remote corner of Washtenaw County to go mountain biking. We already have the hills, around us. Like, if we think bigger, then we can get there. I think, like, I was really disappointed. Huntington Park had a plan at one point in their redesign to build like a 40-foot slide down the hill. And that's the kind of thing that I could imagine people wanting to bring their kids to. All right, that's my time. Thank you all. I'm looking forward to the rest of the evening. Thank you, guys.
Our next race is the Otsego County Representative race for the 4th District. And we have Michelle Caton and Eamon Hinchy. Are you here? Hi, Michelle. Hi, Eamon. Eamon? Okay. So now you guys see how it works. They're going to open with their opening statements. We're going to have some questions from Cooper and Charles, and then we're going to open to questions from you. The last box for your audience questions only had 1 card in it. So if you think of something that you're curious about or you want to know, just put your name on a card, and then I'll be able to call your name and you'll be able to ask a question. So I have here Michelle and Eamon. I'm going to alternate back and forth for who gets to go first. So Michelle, you'll start with the opening statements, but Eamon, you'll get the first question. So we'll start with you, Michelle Caton.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? I got to try this out. It's a little daunting up here, so please bear with me. I'm not used to talking to an audience like this, and the lights are very, very bright.
Very bright.
Good evening. I'm Michelle Caton. Thanks, everyone, for coming tonight and being a part of this debate. I've been the county rep for District 4, the town of Oneonta, for the last 4 years. Not something I ever really thought about doing, but I did get a call back in 21 from Senator Seward and said, Michelle, I know your kids are graduating from high school, they're going on to college, you're going to need something to do. Would you think about being a county rep? So after a couple phone calls and talking with my husband, I decided to do it. So I've been doing it for the last 4 years. So I just want to give you a little overview of some of the things that I do as a county rep. So I'm the chair of the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee. I'm on the Public Safety Committee, the Administrative Committee, and the Technology and Strategic Planning. So for those that don't know, the IGA is a committee that hears from veterans, planning, elections, the economic development agencies. They do the community events grant, the microenterprise grant. PSLA oversees all the safety, the sheriff, the jail, emergency services, the DA, public service, ambulance, buildings, DMV. So all these different departments come to that committee. And then the administration committee is the second after it's gone through the committee process before it gets to the board. And there's a few special committees that I've been asked to work on, and those include the contract between the ambulance service and Bassett and those patient transfers for next year's America's 250, and the county's opioid settlement funds, which we have to decide where they go.
Okay,
So I
Ms.
just
Caton,
want to say-
your 2 minutes is up.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Hinchy. Amen. We're being friendly tonight. We're on a first-name basis.
All right, thank you, everybody. Like Michelle, this is new to me. My name's Eamon Hinchy. I live on Emmons Hill Road, up from Munson's, in the town of Oneonta with my wife and my 3 children, and my dog, and my cat, and my chickens. As a local science teacher for 15 years, I really did learn a lot about the families in this community and the types of things they run up against in a rural area like this. And then as a small business owner, I also have the fortunate ability to learn a lot about land use and planning over the last 5 years. I was taught as a child that the inherent worth and dignity of all people is sacrosanct, and ultimately my career has focused on service to people. I love to confront and discuss hard issues. I really appreciate debate, I appreciate discussion, I appreciate hard decisions. I love the safety I feel surrounded by these hills with my community, and this is why I live here. So this is what ultimately has led me to running for District 4 County Legislature. The future for Oneonta and Otsego County is now, and we need to be ready for changes. Our shifting climate is going to lead to a lot of extra stress on our infrastructure and will inevitably bring new residents to our area who will need to be ready for houses that don't exist. And while our growing tourism industry benefits some, it has to work for all throughout that change. In the end, I believe in smart planning and connecting with my neighbors. If elected, this will be my top priority. I believe that most of my constituents are here in Oneonta for the same reasons as I am. It's safe here. These forests, they shelter us and feed us and house us, and this is what matters. So vote for me on November 4th, and I will serve the people and protect what matters.
Thank you both. We're going to go to questions. Cooper, you're next with the question. And this is slightly different than before because we have 2 people on our stage now. So Eamon is going to get the first question. And remember, Michelle, that you have a 1 minute that you can speak after that, if you want to. Nobody's forced to do it. If you don't have anything to say, it's okay, right? It just means you get more questions.
So how do you think that the county and the municipalities can work together for more equitable services?
County and municipalities could work together. I believe they already do work together very well. Again, I don't have the experience that Michelle has on the county board, and a lot of the issues are still new to me. I'm much more aware of my town's issues and how they overlap with the city. I do think there's a lot of connections that could be made between the city and the town, just like Mike mentioned. I think probably the best way is through the infrastructure that the county maintains, though. It's through public transportation. It's if someone who wants to try to live in Morris and get into work in Oneonta, they have a bus route that's coming to get them. I know there's a lot of talk of micro networks of transportation, not just our bus lines that exist right now. So I think there already is a lot of connections. Oneonta is the biggest town in the county. I think we would just try to foster even more.
Okay, no, wait. Now, Michelle, you have a,
Get to answer that question and we'll make a point.
oh, okay, so you both have that question. Very good. All right. So, Michelle, you get to answer, and then you each get a minute. Okay? Thanks, Bob.
So to answer that question, currently the county and the city do work together on a lot of different issues, along with the bus, as you said. We do tax bills. Our county administrator meets monthly and weekly with the city administrator as well as the mayor. So there's a lot of interaction between the county and the city on a lot of different ways. We have shared services that we do, as well as the bus, the funds that funnel through the county come through the city. So we work together on a lot of different issues.
Any more to say?
I was just going to say, I think the county is set up to protect the municipalities. That is the entire purpose of the structure, the Department of Social Services, right, the roads. So I think that network is created. Maybe more outreach to services that exist within it could be better, but try to tackle that if I get elected.
Well, the county also has the county office building here on Main Street, where we see a lot of veterans, social services, mental health as well, too.
Great. Charles?
What strategies would you support to improve access to healthcare, transportation, and those social services?
This time, Michelle, you get to go first.
What strategies?
Yes. What do you support?
So healthcare, social services, and
Yep, healthcare, transportation, and social services.
so the county currently assists in all those areas for all areas across the county, whether it's we have bus routes that go Oneonta, Cooperstown, Morris, everywhere. So we already have a county-wide bus. In terms of health, we have a county health department that does anything from rabies to helps with business licenses, for food permits, to working with people during COVID. They were very, very active during COVID. They have an online platform for that. And the third one was safety.
Yeah, healthcare and then social services.
Yeah, so we have those services throughout the county. We've got the offices at 242 Main to meet with people, as well as the Meadows out in Cooperstown. So the county offers all those services to everyone throughout the county.
Yeah, thank you. I did talk a little bit about transportation already. That's vital. Again, I was talking to one of the city planners, or the county planners, Kevin, and he was telling me that he's working on some grants to get some micro transportation, so it's not just buses. So maybe like minivans that can go into some of the municipalities that don't connect to our already existing lines. That sounded pretty interesting. Social services is well embedded in our community. Being a school teacher, I got to see and interact with a lot of the social service network in our county. Healthcare is my biggest concern. As we're all aware, maybe the elephant in the room, healthcare is under attack right now, and we've shut down the government. It's kind of messy, but that really scares me as a parent and as a teacher. I watched what school-based health did for kids in Milford. It was unbelievable what it did. And more than 60% of that is through Medicaid, which is being threatened. And then also one of my friends at the Bassett Network told me that telehealth has been shut down in our county, and that is so crucial for our remote groups of peoples who are just unable to get to the doctors, et cetera. So healthcare is something at the top of my mind, and I think it's a human right, especially in the wealthiest country in the world.
You each have a minute if there's more you want to add.
So I'll just add a little on the healthcare, is that we are very lucky to have Bassett here in our community. We've got Fox Hospital here in Oneonta. The emergency room there sees more people than Bassett sees for emergency care. We've got the transportation, and we just are lucky that we have the services of Bassett here in the area that we do. So,
Anything else to add?
Yeah, we are lucky with what we have, but it's fragile. I know Bill Streck, and we talk about the hospital system and how tenuous it can be to maintain a system as a non-for-profit. And so, again, just super worried about healthcare for our families.
I think we're ready for the box. Your turn. Oh, good. So if I call your name, please stand up and one of the microphone people will come to you to ask your question. Let me please remind you, try to be concise and try to make it a question, not your opinion or setting up the situation. We want questions. Hannah Gilliland. Gilliland? Thank you for being brave and being the first one.
Thank
after
you.
Mr. Lewis.
Okay, so the question is slightly different for both of you, but for Aman, what charged you to run for this position? Was there a certain issue? And then for Michelle, what continues to charge you to run for this position? Is it a certain issue? Thank you.
I think it's my turn to go first, so.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go first. Thanks for that question. That's a great question. I'm charged mostly by my family and my connection to schools, but also the environment. I haven't talked too much about it, but I'm deeply connected to the environment. I'm a wilderness first responder. I was a guide. I've worked in the woods, taught about the woods. That's who I am. And I would love to see this county rally around the natural resources we have. I would love to see the county planners that we have, which are phenomenal, be asked to create networks of trails that extended throughout our county to attract the type of tourism that we really, I think, want to have here. And so also the Parks and Rec Department, we had one in the county until the 90s, it got dissolved. So I'd love to see that come back. That's part of my charge. Thank you.
Thanks for that question. I didn't get to finish my original starting here today. I guess the reason for me to continue as a county rep is I think I've given value for being there. I ask the tough questions sometimes. I'm dedicated, I give 100%, and I just want to continue to see our county and the town of Oneonta, which I represent, to grow so that maybe my kids will come back someday and raise their family here. And I just value this community, and I think I have something to offer, so that's why I'm running again.
Any more to add?
Sure. Why not? I echo that. I would love to see housing available for my kids to come back one day and jobs in this area for them to be able to settle down in this area. I had something else.
Oh.
Darn. Yeah, it left my brain. Jobs.
Well done. Okay, our next questioner, Reverend LaDonna Clark. Oh.
How will you ensure transparency and accountability in local government?
I guess in terms of the county government, I try and go to every town board meeting that there is and bring to them what's happened in the county board as it pertains to the town of Oneonta. So I have my phone numbers out there, emails out there, I'm always available, but I try and come to all the town board meetings to let them know what is going on in the county and how it might affect the town.
Yeah, thank you. I'm currently on the Oneonta School Board, and I don't miss meetings there. I'm very active in that board, and I was also part of the Otsego County Conservation Association Board for a long time, where I was a very active member. I think transparency really comes from going out and meeting people. I look forward to, if I get elected, getting to go visit businesses I've never stepped into and just find out what's going on for them in that area. And I also plan to have town halls quarterly and maybe even create a newsletter of, the things that are happening in the town.
Anything more to add? No. Okay, our next questioner, Michael Stalzer. Wait. No, wait, a microphone's coming.
I hate to bring up a contentious subject, but
Hold your microphone up a little. There you go.
Thank you. So, to repeat, I hate to bring up a contentious subject, but I believe it's extremely important. At the county, well, the city of Oneonta currently has.
No, wait, I'm going to ask you to pause.
Mhm.
What's your question? Usually it starts with a what or a who or a how.
I'm going to ask my question.
Okay.
Thank you. The city of Oneonta currently has over 50% of its land mass owned by non-taxable entities, resulting in inordinately high property taxes for the other 40-something%. I gotcha. There's been, the city of Oneonta is also very well situated for all the social services that have been brought up and touched upon, but recently there was a major issue and the city was very divided, and my question is, what are your positions on continuing to allow non-profit entities to come to the city of Oneonta and utilize all of the city's infrastructure and services?
So the concern is about the tax base. So do you have anything that you want to comment about the division in the tax base between taxable properties and non-taxable properties? Michelle.
Sure. Thanks for that question. I understand where that comes from. Well, we're representing the town of Oneonta. I understand that for the city. Someone who's been a business advisor for years and a business owner myself, I understand, paying your fair share of the taxes is something that we have to do. And when there's an inordinate amount of non-for-profits, they don't pay quite as much as we do. My hope is that with the sales tax and the occupancy tax that is collected throughout the whole county for our bed and breakfasts, our Airbnbs, since sales taxes are number one form of income for the county, we're hoping that that new registration and strategy for the county brings more income in. I don't always agree with the pilots. I think they're there. They should be there if we're growing jobs, not just growing apartments or housing, but for jobs.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Focusing on the town of Oneonta, I'm not sure I understand the dilemma as well as maybe Michelle does, being on the county board. But I am aware of the issue. I have friends who are on the zoning board of appeals, the ZBA, and I do recognize that a lot of not-for-profits moved into Main Street, and that has been a struggle for some businesses who are right nearby. How to solve that, I'm not super sure. I do think projects like the RSS, though, where we can maybe consolidate groups of people, maybe businesses can tag along with an RSS infrastructure build, things like that could go hand in hand, and we could offer better rates in new buildings if we could expand growth. But I don't think I have anything else. Sorry.
Do you have anything to add?
The only thing to follow up with that is I know that RSS, and the 3 times now that they've come to do their building, they would be looking at a pilot, which in essence would give them a break on their taxes, so that's not something that would bring more property taxes to our community.
Okay, we have time for another question. Kim Fierke. Thank you. It's coming over here.
Hello, I'm Kim Fierke, and I serve on the town board currently, so I have a selfish question to ask. How do both of you envision working with the town board to increase our grant and funding opportunities?
This time it's Eamon.
Yeah. Thanks, Kim. I hope to work closely with the town board. Just getting to know the town board. Literally just met Brett for the second time tonight. I know you well, Kim. I don't know Joe. I know Trish. I look forward to coming to as many meetings as I can and trying to understand the issues so we can fulfill these grants and try to, I don't even know these grants, to be honest. But like I said, I like to learn. I love to learn about issues and support whatever needs to be done. I think I'll also be a big help on potentially planning, because I'm going to be going to a lot of the planning board meetings if I get elected as well.
Town's for that question, Kim. That's something I've worked on over the years with Brett and with everyone at the town board, is that in my day job, I get those grant opportunities that come across my email through either the state or federal, so I'm quite aware of those, and I usually reach out to Brett or someone from the town, letting them know what opportunities are out there and help in any way. So that's something I do all the time and will continue to do, you know, working with the board and with Brett and Nicole, the bookkeeper, as well, too. She's very instrumental in getting those together.
Anything to add? Okay. Zach McKinney, do you have a question?
Yeah, once again, this is what happens when we don't get enough audience questions. So I encourage everyone, please continue to go and put your names in the box. My question is, we are very fortunate to have 2 wonderful institutions of higher education here in the county, and I'm wondering what are some strategies that we can do to try and retain those students here after they graduate?
It's Michelle's turn.
Oh, that's a great question. I know that the county works with both colleges in having interns come in quite often throughout both semesters in doing different projects, and we're hoping that, you know, their time doing internships, you know, throughout the county in different departments, that may give them an opportunity to say, hey, there are different things that I can do and want to stay here. So that's one avenue, as well as looking at the different larger businesses around that are open to internship opportunities to keep the kids and let them come in and take a firsthand look at their business and foster those internship opportunities with the businesses locally.
Thanks for that question. On my end, I teach at the SUNY Oneonta. I'm an adjunct in the education department, so I get to teach teachers, which is just a blast. And I even just had a student come up to me today, excited about getting to work in this area, which is just really neat. We have a really good pipeline for teachers. I think we could strengthen that pipeline. But we do need to have more businesses move into this area so we can have an increase in internships. And I think also housing is critical. It's hard for somebody right out of college to try to afford housing here when it's relatively similar to wherever they, wherever they came from. So I think we need to work on our housing issue.
Mr. Lewis, do you still have a question? Yes? No more questions? I'm going to do a quick review. So far, with Mr. Rathbart and Ms. Caton and Mr. Hinchy, we've talked about the issues of what are the urgent issues in Oneonta today, how will people know you're representing them, neighborhood connections and safety, infrastructure, safety again, transparency and accountability, jobs, how to keep students here, the tax base, how to get counties and municipalities working together, and why run for office. So we've really covered a broad area, and I think you're doing great with your questions, and I think we're getting to hear important information from the candidates that allows you to decide who would I really like to vote for. So thank you too. A round of applause for them. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And I'd like to invite to our stage now the candidates for the Otsego County Representative for the 13th District, Michelle Clapperton and Donald Seaton. I'm sorry, Scanlon. Sorry, I can't read my own writing. Scanlon. I'm sorry. And we'll start again with the 2-minute opening statements. And Ms. Clapperton, Michelle, you're up first.
Okay. I have to gulp quick.
Okay. Relax, it's a friendly group.
Hi, I'm Michelle Clapperton. I'm running for County Board District 13, which encompasses the 5th and 6th Ward in the city. I'd like to start by thanking our hosts, the universities, the League of Women Voters for having us and putting on this event. And here I go. Okay. Having made Oneonta my home 17 years ago, I fell in love with this community in this area. After seeing some social media posts asking for representation, better representation for District 13, I decided to heed the call. Our constituents deserve an ear and a voice at the county level. I serve on the board of directors for Foothills Performing Arts Center and was one of the founding board members for Friends of Recovery. I'm entrenched in this community that I call my home, and I want to see it thrive and grow. Having worked in advertising and helping our local small businesses grow, I listened to the needs of our local businesses and what was needed for them to grow and flourish. I worked in healthcare during COVID, and as a peer recovery advocate as well as an addiction counselor, so I'm well aware of the need to find solutions for the unhoused, mentally ill, and those suffering with addictions in our area. If elected, I hope to work with the committees devoted to these issues and provide a voice for my constituents. I'm too short, aren't I?
It's fine.
Okay. I can't, oh, no, I've got 30 seconds. Okay, I was told not to swear, and well, he told me, don't swear.
Don't lose your temper.
and don't lose my temper. So I'm not doing any of that, but I'm up here, I want to serve this community. I'm a part of it. It was an honor to get out and canvass and get signed petitions and learn, more about my neighbors and friends in both the 5th and 6th Ward.
All right,
And,
Ms. Clapperton, now your
stop.
time's done. And we'll
the
go to
end.
Mr. Scanlon now for your 2-minute opening.
Okay. Yeah, my name's Don Scanlon. I'm representative for 13th District. I've been doing.
A little louder,
Oh,
a little
sorry.
louder. I think it's movable, so just,
Okay.
scooch
Can you hear me
it
now?
up. Better.
Oh. Yeah, my name's Don Scanlon. I'm the representative for District 13 here in Oneonta. This will be my 3rd term if I were to win. The reason that I decided back then to start, the gentleman, Mr. Bill Shue, came to see me, and I had a local business here, the hometown deli on Spruce Street. I've raised my family here. I've been in Oneonta most of my adult life. I moved here when I was 18 years old, and I learned very quickly when I started my term that there's a lot of moving parts in this type of program. And I enjoy working with the people I work with. We try to make some good decisions for the area, for the people in the area. You know, our biggest thing is work for the veterans, the elderly here in this area. We work hard to try to keep the taxes as low as possible. We're balancing the budget right now, which is kind of tough. You know, you don't get federal funding like you used to, so you have to be very creative and unfortunately ask some of the people out there to make cuts to their programs. The big thing for me is the jail. I'd like to see us get that put together and get the people, get the people that we're housing out right now back into the area, and that's costing taxpayers a lot of money, so we're working diligently on that. And big thing is being physically responsible, trying to keep the budget where we need to be and not overspend on the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move to our panelists. It's Cooper's turn to go first.
Thank you. So I'm actually, when I'm not going to college here, I'm actually a resident in Delaware County, so I'm kind of curious as to like, to what degree do you know that Otsego County works with other counties, not just Delaware, and like, how do you think we could build on that in the future?
Is it to me or to Donald?
This one goes to Donald first.
I couldn't hear what he was saying, I'm sorry.
So just what degree does Otsego County already work with other counties, and how can we build on that in the future?
You talk about like Scary County, those different counties here? Well, we work with several different counties, you know, in trying to get ideas and share information back and forth with them. The big thing, and no question, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that last part of the question.
Just like, to what degree do we already work with, which you answered, but like, how can we build on that?
I'm sorry.
How can we build on our communication with other counties?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, how do we build on that? Like like sharing ideas and what have you here. That's would be the main thing, is try to share ideas, get information from them, learn from other people here, and share the information.
Okay, Michelle, the same question to you.
I would say, not having worked at the county level before, but if we do have, you know, reciprocity with other counties, I would think a monthly or biannual or quarterly multi-county meeting where people can get together and share different ideas, because Delaware County may be much better at one thing than Otsego County is, and the same goes for other counties in the area, and they can learn from each other.
Okay. There's a minute each for you to add something else if you want to add more to that topic. Anything else? No. Okay, then we have Charles for a question.
What do you think are the county's biggest challenges in the next 5 years, and how would you address them?
Okay, this is for me?
This is for you to start.
Okay. I think one of the biggest problems facing the area right now is the unhoused population and affordable housing. We have a couple of projects coming up that could address that to some degree, but I think we need more. And when we say affordable housing, I think somebody touched it, one of the other candidates touched on it earlier, market rate apartments, for the most part, I mean, and I have a decent job, and it would be tough for me, but if it's based on 30% of somebody's income, and they can afford to get in, and our job, you know, is to help people navigate those systems in order to get the help and the housing, mental health care, and addiction services that they need.
Mr. Scanlon?
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Oh, could you ask the question again, please?
What do you think are the county's biggest challenges in the next 5 years, and what would you do to address them?
Well, one of the biggest challenges I'm seeing right now is trying to balance the budget, and it's taking a lot of effort, energy, like I said, trying to make as many cuts as possible, be as efficient as possible, trying to keep the taxes low, property tax, sales tax. We're dependent on sales tax revenue, trying to drive that kind of business, get more people into the area, spending money. Working with the veterans is another thing, and the big thing, like I said, with me is the jail. We need to upgrade the jail, try to get it fully functional, get it staffed properly, and give them everything they need to be in a safe work area and be safe.
Okay, we'll move to audience questions.
I don't like these lights. Like, look at this.
Danny Lappin.
All right. Good evening. First of all, thank you both so much for your service to our community and running for election and re-election. My name is Danny Lappin. Most of you know me as a public nuisance, but some of you might know me as a former county representative for District 13. As a tax-paying resident of Oneonta's 5th Ward, I would like to know what both of your plans are for ensuring your constituents' needs are heard and represented at the county level. And my second part of the question is, would both of you commit tonight in front of everybody to have quarterly town halls? Thank you.
I think we're back to Mr. Scanlon to start.
I couldn't hear that entire.
It echoed.
Oh,
It echoed so
echo.
bad I could not hear it.
I'm sorry. Yes, please do one more time, just the question part.
Yeah, just to speak.
That's better.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So what is your plan as county representative to ensure that the will and needs of your constituents would be met at the county level, and would both of you commit to hosting quarterly town halls?
Me first? Okay, first of all, yes, town hall would be a great thing. If somebody could coordinate that or put that together, I would have no problem at all bringing people, updating people. But what was the first question again? I'm sorry.
The other
I
part
really-
was, yeah. How will
Well-
you, did you hear that part?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
great.
Well, to be honest with you, I've been receiving a lot of phone calls and about this RSS going into River Street, and it's been a focus here with me trying to get some information. My constituents in that area, I've given several phone calls, I've gone to their meetings here, the citizen meeting, and they have several questions that they're trying to get from these RSS people. And I'm slowly but surely climbing the ladder, talking to different people here, trying to get that information. I think the consensus is that people don't want it until they do understand what's going to happen, what's going to be done at that facility, what kind of safety protocol there'll be. So that's been a focus for me right now, is working on that. Thank you.
Actually, serving my constituents' needs at the county level, I would need, my plan is to have a direct, dedicated phone line just for my constituents, and to have monthly constituent meetings where we get together. One month it'll be in the 6th Ward, the next it'll be in the 5th Ward, because they need to be heard, and so many of those that I talked to weren't even aware of who the representative was. So I think that that's important. I have to be a face, I have to be a voice, and I have to actually listen and listen to act. As my opponent mentioned, there is a housing development that is proposed for the 6th Ward, which could address some really much needed services. Affordable housing, it's not there. I see so much of complaining about the unhoused or the mentally ill or the addicted, and yet when, it was at a stop, and yet when solutions are offered, there seems to be a lot of resistance. I was invited to one of the residents' meetings that he's referring to, and I was, at the start of the meeting, it said this is just a conversation, and then as the meeting began, we were instructed if you have an opposing opinion, please remain silent. So I have to listen whether I want to hear it or not, whether I agree. I have to listen to the needs of my constituents and act accordingly.
Do you either have anything to add to that?
No.
We'll take our next question from Mark Pocket.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Mark Pocket. Some of you may know me also, like Danny, as some kind of nuisance in the 6th Ward. I guess I have one question, mainly for Don. I've been there for 5 years there. You were elected. I actually ran against, if some that don't know, I ran for county rep, District 13, and lost by 3 votes or something, 2 votes to Don. And congratulations for winning, Don. It was a good race. However, since then, I haven't heard from you. I've never seen you. Most of the people that I talked to in the 6th Ward have never seen you, have never talked to you.
Mr. Pocket,
So
ask your
how
question.
how are you going, can you explain why you were absent the entire time, the past 4 years?
We really want this to be, these people have put themselves up for voting.
You're right. So if I want to vote
we
for,
wanna-
how are you going to change your ways so that I know that you are representing me? There's my question.
That's much better.
How would
Thank you. We
how-
don't want to attack them. We want to ask them, how do you plan to communicate? How do you plan,
Okay.
it's a nicer way.
It isn't. How do you plan to get a hold of the people in the district so that we know you're representing us and not just other certain groups?
So you via like email or?
It's your choice. Go ahead.
Like I said, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I'm not that good with a computer. My name and phone number is out there. If anybody ever has any questions, you can find me, call. I return every phone call I get, which I'm getting several right now. I'm not good with sending out emails or information like that. Everything is said at the board meetings or whatever is online. You can look it up and see, how I vote or what I have to say during those meetings here. But like I said, I'm available for anybody. I've taken several phone calls here recently, and I've returned every one of them here and followed up on all the questions they have. So I'll always answer my phone. But like I said, I'm not big on computers and I'm not good with emails, and I do not even have a cell phone, to be honest with you. So if you want to contact me, just give me a call and I'll be more than happy to fill you in on anything you need to know. Thank you.
Okay, Michelle, you get to answer that too. How do you plan to connect with your constituents?
Well, as I said, it's been so enlightening to me as I've been out canvassing and getting to know my constituents, and I feel that they need a face with that voice, and they need that representation. They need to know that their voices are being heard and represented at the county level.
Okay, anything else to add, either of you?
No.
Valerie Cole. It's Cole or, yeah?
Hi there. Yes, thank you both for running, and thank you for your service, Mr. Scanlon. So this question is for Michelle.
Both candidates will be answering the questions.
Okay, that's fine. She has more expertise in this particular area, but so one of the concerns about the RSS project is the fact that there may be people in recovery living in those apartments. And what I'm wondering is, what do you see as the problems that may be associated with people in recovery living close to other people? And what would you expect would be the challenges to the neighborhood of having people in recovery in that apartment building?
This is a good question. It's an excellent question, because when I first moved to the 6th Ward 8 years ago, the signs were up. They went up shortly after the first time RSFs wanted to put a development there. And full transparency, I'm a person in long-term recovery myself. And as such, I know people in recovery, and I would see these anti-RSS signs all up and down the street, and what most of those folks did not. So I know where recovering people live. A lot of them live, and in almost every single place where there was a sign, there was somebody either next door or across the street that was in recovery, and those people didn't even know.
No, hold on that. Mr. Scanlon?
Yes. I myself had a family member that was in recovery, alcohol and drug recovery, and I've had dealings with RSS, and I understand your question here. And some of the issues that I had was monitoring my brother. He was able to wheel and deal and get drugs while on the facility property here, and that's why I have a concern. I want to make sure that if RSS is going to go in there, they have the staff that are trained properly, that they have the wherewithal to make sure that there aren't going to be people out on the street, which had no problem leaving the facility. He could leave in the morning and be out there all day long and come back at a specific time at night, but he was still able to get drugs, and it was from people in that facility. They were switching drugs back and forth, trying different things here. So that is a question that I would have for RSS. I'm not dead set against it. I just want these guys to assure this community that they're going to be safe, that they're going to be monitored, and that they don't have to worry about it. That's what I'm working on.
Anything to add, Michelle?
I do. When I had questions about the RSS project, and I will say this, during that meeting that I attended, RSS at that time had a scheduled meeting that was open to the public to come and ask questions and get the information they needed. And what the folks at that meeting decided to do instead was picket the RSS. I myself, the next day I got her number and I called her, Christine Heaney, who's heading up that project. And I got a lot of the answers that I need. Now I know they plan on doing like a much bigger open house where more people can attend at once. And I don't know if there's picketing happening this time, but I hope people will take the opportunity, because contempt prior to investigation should never be a thing.
Okay, is there any, hold on that please, Mr. Scanlon, is there anything else that you want to add? I'm going to do a little audience coaching here. Our voting for these candidates is going to happen either early voting, which is open now for the next week, or on November 4th. And if we have audience members who are clapping for this candidate or clapping for that candidate, it can easily devolve into you're voting tonight. You're revealing your vote, so to speak. So I think we want to just keep it on the issues, to the candidates. You're privately thinking about who you would like to vote for, but I'm going to ask you not to clap in support or opposition. I don't want booing on one hand and I don't want clapping on the other. I want it to remain really a neutral environment for them to be able to keep telling us their opinions. So just a little coaching. I don't know how I feel about this. I have names here in this box for this group that are people that have asked questions before. So oftentimes when I run candidate meetings for the League of Women Voters, we hear from lots of people before, making sure there's no other people who want to ask questions before we go around and give people a second turn. So I'm going to ask anybody who has another question for these people, even if you didn't put your name in the box, if you wave your hand and stand up, we will bring you a microphone. Okay, we got one guy here.
I thought that I had put my name in the box, but if somehow I got the wrong box, hopefully don't call me later. My name is Charles Spencer. I live in the 6th Ward. This question is not about RSS, but as a county representative, you will certainly have disagreements with those you work closely with, as well as potential constituents. My question is, how do you handle disagreements and conflict resolution to make sure you are working productively for our county and the region you may serve?
Okay, so handling conflict amongst the board members?
conflicts among the board members, and maybe disagreements with your constituents.
Okay. And Michelle, you're going first.
To go first? Well, like Don said, I can't get mad and I can't swear. That being said, it's almost like dealing with, you know, my children who are all grown now, or my grandchildren. There's my way, somebody else's opinion, and then the truth lies somewhere in the middle, and I have to be able to step back and not take it as a personal attack and listen, because if I listen, I may learn something about that, and I may have a better understanding as to why that person or somebody in the county, at the county level, might feel the way that they do. But I can only do that by listening and withholding judgment.
Mr. Scanlon?
Oh, yeah, we do have disagreements when we're having board meetings. There's certain people that have opinions that I don't agree with, but we all have to work together for the common cause and do the right thing. And we usually discuss it. If we have an issue or a situation where we're not agreeing on something, we usually hash it out. Same thing with my constituents. Like I said, if you have an issue or a problem with me, you give me a call, we'll talk it over. Maybe I could sway you to see my way of things. If not, at least I'm going to give it a shot. But like I said, I'm always available. If you call me and I'm not home, I'll call you back. And like I said, we're always working to resolve things. That's the big thing with this, you know, working with the board here. These guys, we generally get along. We all, you know, have our issues, we have our problems, we have different ideas on things, but we always try to do the right thing for the community.
Okay, anything to add? I saw one other hand over here.
So to both of the candidates, what qualifications will you be bringing, say if Mr. Scanlon you're reelected or Ms. Clapperton you are elected, what qualifications, personal experiences will you be able to bring to bear on your role as a county legislator?
What was your name, please?
Christopher DiDonna.
Thank you.
Who goes first?
So, Mr. Donald, you go first.
Okay, well, like I said, I've been 4 years working in Cooperstown with these guys. I also ran 2 big corporations, had my own business for 13 years. I know what a P&L is. I know how to balance a balance sheet. And I've been doing this for a long, long time. I think my qualifications speak for themselves. Like I said, the big thing is transitioning into working for your constituents. And like I said, I will not falter at that. And I will do my best every day to make sure that they're safe and the community they live in, they enjoy themselves.
And I've worked in advertising and marketing for the better part of the last 30 years. And in that, I learned a lot. And what I learned, probably the most important thing that I learned was to listen. I had to listen twice as much as I spoke. And as I listened, then I can find out what the needs are of my constituents, of the ward, both wards. And then I can bring it back to the county. I'm new at this, but I have a passion for it. I have a passion for people. I like people. But I mean, I really do. I care about people. I care about my neighbors. And I want to see this community thrive. And in doing so, when I find out what is needed, and I'm hoping that, you know, when I have those monthly meetings and the open phone line, I'm going to find out what those folks need. And then I can take that to the board, and I can work on ways to help solve those specific needs. And it'll be a learning experience for me, but I'm ready and I'll show up.
Anything to add?
No.
No? Anybody else? Wave your hand, we'll bring you a microphone. Down close here, see a hand?
Hi, Paul Patterson, the Third Ward, but I want to ask you both if you've ever visited a facility similar to what the RSS is proposing, and if not, will you commit to go and actually visit that type of locations someplace before you make final commitments as to what we do moving forward.
Okay, this time, Donald.
Hey, the facility that size, I've not been in one. I've been in one here locally in Oneonta and had several meetings with the people that work there. And yeah, I would, like I said, once they have an open line of communication and they're willing to sit down and discuss what they're going to do and what their plans are, and then I would be more than happy. Like when I first came to Cooperstown, I went through the jail. I wanted to see what that was all about. So yeah, I'm open-minded enough to go ahead and go to one of these facilities. But first, there's got to be an open line of communication between RSS and the people here on River Street and in Oneonta. Once they do that, sure, I'll go down and look. I mean, that will give you all the information you need. But first of all, like I said, they need to start communicating here, being transparent.
Mrs. Clapperton?
I'm willing to call Christine Nealon tomorrow and go visit one of their facilities in a heartbeat. I worked in smaller facilities, and when I worked in a private rehab, which is not the same thing, but with that population. But no, I've not visited a facility that large, but I'm more than willing, and I'm sure if I called her tomorrow, she would say, "Come on down."
We don't have any more time for questions for this pair of candidates, so I'd like to thank you both for running.
Well, good luck. It's nice meeting you.
Bring water.
Yeah, whoever's next, bring water and sunglasses.
I'd like to invite to the stage the candidates for Town of Otsego Supervisor, Brett Holleran and William Rivera, Jr. Brett Holleran, you're up first. Do you have your 2-minute statement already?
Sure. Just get my glasses on.
Thank
Can I
you.
see the lady that's
Oh,
coming?
you know what, both of you guys, here's our timekeeper. She has a little cards there to keep you on schedule.
You start when I start?
Yep.
Okay. To start, I want to thank the Chamber for this opportunity. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brett Holleran. I'm a lifelong resident of Oneonta. I've been happily married for 22 years. I have 2 wonderful children, and I've been your acting supervisor in the town of Oneonta since January of this year. I started my public service for the town in the year 2012 when I was appointed to the planning board, which I served for 3 years. In 2015, I ran and was elected to the town board, which I have served since. During that time, I've also served on the Parks and Recreation Committees, the Legislative Committee, the Public Safety Committee, the 10-year Comprehensive Planning Committee, the County Ethics Committee, and was appointed as the Deputy Supervisor 3 years ago. The participation in those committees has provided me the invaluable experience necessary to manage the town. Experience is something that can only be learned and earned by putting in the time. I have not only governmental experience, but I have also put in 29 years as a high school teacher, and I have another 30 years business experience owning and operating a small business here in the town of Oneonta. The culmination of this experience has been successful grant submissions and awards of several projects this year in the town of Oneonta. Along with my predecessor, Randy Mowers, in the last year we've been awarded over $6 million in grant funding for infrastructure expansion and replacement projects. Some of these projects include 2 Bridge New York fully funded grants for the replacement of the Blanchard and Winnie Hill Ave culverts, 2 New York State water quality improvement grants that will cover 75% of the cost of the East Street and Jefferson Street culverts, a SAM grant that will help cover the cost of the Greater Plains Pool Replacement Project, a New York State Empire State Development Grant that will help pay for the extension of the water to Hemlock Road, which will not only provide better water quality, will also lead to new housing, and finally a HUD grant to replace the aging water mains in the Angel Heights development. This grant funding saves you, the taxpayer, money while providing you the benefits of the services they are funding. This year, the town, through fiscal responsibility, will not be petitioning to override the tax cap and has been able to build up the reserves. And that's it. Thank you.
Good. Mr. William Rivera Jr., your turn.
Thank you. Thank you all for having us. Thank you to our moderators and legal women voters. Good evening. My name is Will Rivera, and I love Oneonta. This community has given me hope and stability, something that I have yearned for as a child. From porches and driveways to your coffee tables and to 2 town halls, I have listened to you, your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas for a better community. Before we talk about leadership, we have to talk about service. Service with the people and for the people. Service includes listening with care and leading with integrity. Tonight you hear from me not what I would want to do to Oneonta, but what we will do together. You want low taxes? So do I. You want safe neighborhoods? So do I. You want a thriving town with strong businesses? So do I. We are on the same team. You are on mine and I am on yours. I ran for this board leadership position because this town administration in the recent past has disregarded the will of the people. Not once but twice, they have gone against the will of the people. Not once but twice, they have lost. Not once but twice, they have used taxpayer money to fight against their own neighbors. It will be my honor to earn your vote, to advocate for you strongly, to make sure that you are always seen and heard and welcomed, and it would be my honor to represent you in Town Hall. Vote for me on November 4th. Thank you.
All right, we're back to Cooper and Charles over there. Cooper, it's your turn.
Thank you. So earlier, I asked Mike Forrester Rothbard about infrastructure, but I also think it's really important when we consider not just the city, but as the town, what would you consider priorities for infrastructure were you to go into office?
Okay, Mr. Rivera, you take that first question, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking of looking at infrastructure, I do believe we need to have a comprehensive 5-year plan where we are looking at routinely addressing things in order so that we can make sure that we are fiscally responsible with our money. But also, we need to look at the 2 bridges or single bridge that has been out of commission for several years. We need to look at the projects that have gotten over budgeted as well. And so I believe we need to hire either shared or solely a town engineer that's focused on working for the people, making sure that our projects stay on task, and making sure that our projects stay on budget.
Well, speaking of the bridge that on Blanchard Avenue, I did mention that that's a fully funded Bridge New York culvert replacement project. So that is no cost to the taxpayers in Oneonta. It is fully engineered, and we have hired an engineering firm to take care of that. It's not over budget, so that's misinformation in that respect. In terms of infrastructure, yeah, that is extremely important. We're planning, and as I said in my opening statement, we have budgeted for not only replacement of infrastructure, but also expansion of infrastructure. As I mentioned, Hemlock, we are going to be expanding the water from the Angel Heights, known as the Woodland Water District, out to Hemlock Road. In doing so, that will not only provide them cleaner, safer water, but it will also, and has also, spurred 2 different housing developments for affordable housing in the town of Oneonta.
Okay, you each have a minute now to add what you want. Have anything to add?
I don't.
No? Okay, then we go to Charles.
So we've talked a lot about this night about transparency between being an elected official and your constituents. What steps would you take to engage in residents in town decisions?
Is that me first?
Yes, Mr. Holleran, you're
Okay,
first.
thank you. Well, every town decision is presented at a board meeting. Board meetings are public, they're publicized. So at every time or every part of the process, the community or people that are present have the opportunity to speak. We have a public comment period at the beginning and end of every board meeting. So that's their opportunity for community input. We do publish things on our website. We also have a Facebook page, which our town clerk takes care of. So there are multiple opportunities for people to participate. They just have to get out there and do it. So there's nothing in a vacuum. All decisions are transparent and a matter of public record as well. And as a matter of fact, our clerk, I know he's in the audience somewhere, has just actually started streaming them so you can watch them at home if you're so inclined.
Transparent government means making your decisions in public for the will of the people. Transparent government means allowing people to speak and be heard and make their decisions based on their will. Transparent government means putting your full applications with all the attachments and full agendas more than 24 hours before the meeting. Transparent government means that we shouldn't be directed to FOIL documents so that we can understand and learn and understand the process. If I'm elected and in this administration, I will work with everyone, with our clerk, to bring the town board to 2025, to ensure that we have accessible documents a week ahead, and ensure that everyone is knowledgeable about the process. In order to curb dishonesty, we need to make documents available for others so they can see and so that they can be heard when they have their 3 minutes within Town Hall.
Now you have that 1 minute to add anything that you want to add? No?
The applications are posted online. They're under public notices.
Okay, and now we're at time for audience questions. Do we have the box? Rich Harlem.
Good evening. Thank you both for raising your hand and running and giving the people a choice. And thank you to the League for sponsoring this event tonight.
Oh, the League is not the sponsor. The sponsor tonight is the Hartwick Institute of Public Service.
Well, thank you to the Hartwick Institute of Public Service.
Yes.
That's even better.
Thank you.
Would you both share with us your views about accessory dwelling units in the town of Oneonta?
This one goes to Mr. Rivera first.
So for me, accessory dwelling units, we really need to look at how we approach that within our comprehensive plan. We need to look at our housing issue as well before we look at addressing or allowing them to be changed or to be updated or to now be included for living. And so I believe that before we do anything regarding changing, modifying, we need to review everything holistically so that the community can decide and plan with everyone through the comprehensive plan process on what's better. The comprehensive plan is over a decade old, and the community deserves to have that guide with them as they navigate the next 10 years.
So that has been discussed at the board level. We kind of tabled it, honestly, because one of our board members is directing, actually, she's here, Kim Bierke is directing an ad hoc committee. It was originally intended to look at transient rentals in the town of Oneonta. However, it's kind of transformed into looking at a holistic view of housing in Oneonta, and we're eagerly awaiting the report of that committee, and based on that, we'll further address potentially the ADUs because it is something that the city has obviously endeavored upon. We often look towards what they're doing, to see if it's something that makes sense for us as well.
Anything to add? No? Good. I'm getting names here of people who have asked questions in the past, and so I'm skipping over and I'm going to new people. Melissa Jervis.
Hi, thank you. What specific plans do you have to support local business and economic development in the town?
This is Mr. Holleran.
Well, the town has and is open for business. I wouldn't say we specifically have a written plan. We want to support businesses. We want to see how we can help businesses not only locate in Oneonta, but thrive in Oneonta. Part of that obviously is all tied to housing. So we're certainly looking at housing. As Mr. Rothbart said originally, affordable housing is not just low income, it's moderate and high income housing as well. We need to look towards that and expand that, because without that, businesses won't locate here in Oneonta. And without businesses locating Oneonta, you know, everything will obviously fall apart from there. So we want to look towards an open for business sign in the town of Oneonta.
I think we really should utilize CDBG funds to help our struggling businesses and those that we want to come in to Oneonta to help us thrive. I also do believe we need to eliminate and make it easier for businesses within our town municipality to create businesses and engage and develop their business. And that would be a comprehensive process with all our planning board members, board, zoning board of appeals, so that businesses have equitable and easier access to get on there. But we also need to find ways to allow current businesses to get things they need. I've had many discussions and they said, hey, Will, can we get a new facade? Hey, Will, can we get something for our roof so it stops leaking? And so I said, if I can't find it here locally, I'm sure as hell we'll go up to Albany and find it from our state legislators, or I'll go up to the county to find it and make sure that we get our fair share of both the bed and sales tax so that it can come back here locally for these projects that we need.
Okay, our next question, Andrea Thies.
Thank you both. So my question is coming from someone who is a city resident and clearly not in the town, but I think that you have already expressed that appreciation between Oneonta as a community, and I often don't think about it as two separate places. Given that the town properties border established city neighborhoods, I would like to know what steps you would take to improve coordination and communication within the city of Oneonta to ensure that proposed developments and business proposals, such as campgrounds or high-impact uses, fit the character and needs of nearby residential areas.
Yes.
First, I want to clarify that, yes, we are both near and have very close borders, but if elected, you know, I serve the people of the town of Oneonta, and that is my focus, would be the people of the town of Oneonta. And I do look at this as the greater Oneonta, and this is why I say I love Oneonta in general. But I do believe the way we can build off of that is shared services. How can we share services so that we can reduce our own fiscal responsibilities from both of our budgets? How can we possibly apply for joint applications so we may revitalize certain areas that be jointly together, such as the West End? How can we work together so that when individuals want to come here and plan a project that may be near or neighboring our borders, that we're all on the same path? And that really begins with trust. and honesty and knowing that we can work together.
So that is a tough question, Andrea, and I do understand, and I know the situation you're referring to. Through planning and zoning, obviously, we're always mindful of the community's needs. We do have, obviously, planning documents, zoning documents that we all must follow. Obviously, communication is difficult between the city and town when it comes to those types of things. However, through, as you mentioned, our intermunicipal agreements and shared services, often we can accomplish that. An example of that obviously is, well, not the roundabout, but going out Lettuce Highway. That is going to be a shared city and town endeavor, making it more pedestrian friendly. So those are some of the things that we do work together and we do collaborate quite well with.
Another question, Andrew Stammel.
Thank you. Thank you both for coming tonight. I know it's not easy being up there and doing this. But I just want to ask, do you both, or do either one of you support updating the town code of ethics to more specifically prohibit town board members from purchasing real estate in the town if they've recently voted to take action against that property? For example, declaring a property unsafe. Or are there other conflicts of interest that should be addressed by the code?
Mr. Holleran.
Well, Mr. Stammel, I'm not going to answer that question. This is absolutely absurd. You've tried to slander me twice in the paper. You know the truth. Everybody else knows the truth. This is the second campaign you've tried this. Honestly, you should be ashamed of yourself that this is. How about you talk about the experience we have and the things we bring to the table rather than hanging your hat in the same exact thing.
This is a question about, are you willing to update the code of ethics? That's a simple question.
Okay, it's not necessary. The code of ethics stands as it is.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know the background. See, I don't vote here. I don't live here. I think we need to be polite. We do need to be polite. We need to respect both the audience for having shown up and given us their time, and we have to respect the people who are running for office. They've got a lot of time into their campaign and all that sort of stuff. So I'm sorry if this is like a hot button thing here.
This is not.
I'd like us to just move on.
I would appreciate that.
I'd like us to just move on. And it's a legitimate question, and he said he doesn't think it needs to be updated. Mr. Rivera, you get to answer that same question. Are you in favor of updating or revising the code of ethics?
I'm in favor of revising and updating every form of document annually and on a schedule as well. But in reference to the ethics document, recently the city of Binghamton just passed a very well-known ethics document that essentially holds any elected official accountable for any issues. And they have a separate governing board that oversees it, and it allows individuals to do that. This isn't rocket science, it's not innovative, it's something that can easily be done, and I wholeheartedly support reviewing all documents, even the ethics board documents. We do have Dale Webster, who leads the ethics board, and so if that's a way to work with them together and other individuals within the town space to review that, I wholeheartedly would support that. And also I do, at the end of the day, think any public official serves the people, regardless, period. That is who we serve, and if people don't like that, I encourage everyone to follow the amazing democratic right we have to vote them out.
I'm going to take another question. Teresa Sizeski.
Hello. Speaking of zoning, when do you think it is appropriate to change zoning without changing the comprehensive plan? We have many businesses that are very interested in moving into the town of Oneonta, and they're oftentimes looking at residential, agricultural areas to put industrial buildings into, and should that be allowed?
Yeah, if elected, I would work with the administration and the town leadership and all the staff within that building. Basically, we need to end spot zoning. It is an illegal act identified by New York, and the residents don't want it. We need to stop it. We need to end it, period. And we need to look at the comprehensive plan as well so that we can eliminate these things moving forward.
So every applicant in the town of Oneonta has the right to be heard and go through the process. It doesn't mean that they will be approved for that particular zone change or amendment in any way, shape, or form. However, it is important and that every single applicant has the right to be heard. The process or the question that you're asking of the particular application, we're just going through the process at the current time. So that's where we're at. I can't say that it's going to be something that will happen or something that won't happen until we've heard all the facts, given them their opportunity to present their case.
Okay, our next question, Jeff Doyle. Are you around, Jeff?
All right, thank you both for being here this evening. The Eco-Yada data center proposal is deeply concerning to me, but I also understand the need to bring business and jobs to Oneonta. How will you balance economic and job opportunities while protecting the environment and the health of the community?
Mr. Holleran?
Yeah. With respect to that, that's pretty much what I just was saying, that application has the right to be heard. They have to go through the process like anyone else would, and like you would expect anyone else would have that opportunity. The board has to balance, obviously, the community's needs, wants, and the health and safety of the community as well. If at any time they feel that that's not fitting with the community or fitting with the neighborhood character, they have the right to stop the process. So I'm not sure if that necessarily answered your question.
I will put our people over developers any day. I will put our people over political insiders any day. And I will put our people over developers who want to make millions, harm our environment, and take our land any day. I'm here for the people, and I'm here to be for the people. I ran this position so that I can make sure that the only generational wealth that I have for my daughter can remain safe here, so she can have this home for her family, and they can be safe and not surrounded by 5 short-term rentals, or possibly have an AI data-related project in their community. And so I wholeheartedly believe that political servants serve the people. It is not about balancing. It is about what the people want, how we are here to protect the people, and making sure that we create an environment that is sustainable long-term.
I'm going to just say, I wouldn't disagree with that, Will.
No, I think we're done. I don't think there's, yeah, but I read here, I think I did it wrong. Go ahead. Why don't you add something?
I was just going to add to the fact that I wouldn't disagree with it in any way, shape, or form for that, but again, every applicant always has the right to present their case.
Okay.
So
We've heard that. Okay. Very good. Brian Lehman.
What is your position on short-term rentals in the town of Oneonta, specifically in our residential neighborhoods like West End?
This time it's William.
Well, I live in the West End, so I can talk very well on that. When I've been out knocking on doors or at events, 1 in 3 people have said to me, Will, what are you going to do about the short-term rentals overtaking my neighborhood? And I say to them, we are going to put common sense, smart frameworks. The town has an ad hoc committee that is already looking at short-term rental issues, and so I look forward to hearing more about that, but it is a problem. Essentially, we didn't come here or live in a neighborhood to be surrounded by short-term rentals. We didn't come in here to be in our neighborhoods, so now that we have people coming and going, more traffic, And they are great managers out there. I'm not sitting here saying anything that, but I'm all for smart frameworks, common sense frameworks for short-term rentals.
So I too live at the West End, as a matter of fact, very close to Will, and I live about 15 feet away from a transient rental. So I do have some knowledge of that, as well as my business was renting to baseball people. I think there has to be a balance, and that's why we formed a committee, ad hoc committee at the town to look at it and really take a deep dive into density, are they causing problems, and what we need to do moving forward with them. So I don't have any answers right now. We're waiting for the results of that committee's findings. They did a survey, which was online. If you could probably even still participate if you go on the town website. And from there, we'll make some decisions for the future.
Anything to add?
I do want to say something. At the last town board meeting, Brett did say, maybe we are trying to solve something that doesn't need fixing. So I'm just concerned that we're talking about something that doesn't need fixing.
I want your opinions, not your.
No, that's okay.
I was just reading. I was just saying, for the record or for the audience, our short-term rental housing does need fixing. The community has spoken. The people have shared this, and I look forward, if elected, to work with the ad hoc committee to establish that.
Anything else?
Yeah, I did say that, but it's somewhat out of context, obviously.
Okay.
No, it just simply is part of the conversation.
Laura Frankel. Last question. Laura?
Hi, I'm a longtime resident of West Oneonta, almost 40 years, and I just kind of wanted to get your stance on the possibility of further expansion of the All-Star Village, and like good, bad, positives, negatives, and what's your stance on the expansion into the back 60 acres? Thank you.
Mr. Holleran, you're up.
Well, I'm not sure that they're actually doing that. They do own that. That is true. There was some talk about it some time ago. They have not formally applied to do anything. I'm pretty much with the understanding that more than half of that is in federal flood zones, so it may not be developable. Smart growth is important. As we've mentioned, it would have to go under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of different boards. There'd be plenty of public hearings. At this time, since I don't know, it's just speculation. I couldn't obviously give you my opinion on what exactly it would look like and what my feelings would be on it until I actually see it, or if it ever, for that matter, happens.
Laurel, I can tell you, if elected, I promise you, you will be the first one. I get a phone call to see if you would be interested in participating in community conversations with that. And I will make sure that all of these issues that may be conflicts, we start with basic community conversations. Holding town halls, holding coffee chats, holding spaces where people can have these conversations in before a business meeting.
That was our last question, and we're going to move on to the next race. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Thank you. I'd like to welcome to the stage the two people running for the City of Oneonta Mayor, Daniel Butterman and Luisa Montanti. Daniel Butterman, you're first.
That's me?
Yep.
So I'd like to start by saying thank you to the Foothills for hosting this event, for the Chamber, Hardwick, and SUNY for organizing it, and for moderators. And thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Dan Butterman. I'm very proud to be living here in Oneonta with my wife and our 3 children right up the street on Ford Avenue, right downtown. And I'm running because I love Oneonta, and I feel fortunate to be here. I want to do what's within my ability to make it an even better place for more families. But unfortunately, we are living during a difficult time. It's a transformative time. People have left the region and our city as well, and we need to bring them back. And in order to do that, we need to make Oneonta a place where people want to be. In order to make that turnaround, we need strong leadership. We need a mayor that understands the requirements of leadership and is able to take on the many challenges ahead of us. We must take positive action on developing new housing, a full spectrum of housing needs, and from apartments to single-family houses. And we need to improve accessibility to our businesses downtown and encourage investment in our businesses throughout our city. And underscoring all this, we need to improve government effectiveness. Improving government effectiveness requires leadership that can take control and work to increase confidence in its operations. Trust is critically important, but I think it is fair to say that right now it is near or at an all-time low. And we must turn that around. And I believe I'm the right person to take on this role at this critical time. My career in public service is based on vision and collaboration. Seeing the challenges and the opportunities before us and finding the right people, building the team to take them on. From bringing inspiring speakers and connecting Oneonta to the world of idea sharing through TEDx, to providing more teacher contact with young students as a member of the school board, I have worked to bring people together, develop ideas, and teams that can succeed. I will use my leadership to the skills and the best of my ability for the betterment of Oneonta, so that tomorrow it can be a place for my children to raise their families as well. Thank you.
Okay. Now it's time for Luisa Montanti.
All right, thank you. Thank you to the Hartwick College students and the members of the Hartwick Institute of Public Service, to SUNY Oneonta, and to the women voters for organizing this debate. And thank you as well to Jeff Doyle and the ED of Foothills and the staff for hosting us this evening. I am here tonight not as a politician, but as a public servant and a woman of this community who has lived the challenges we face. I don't just talk about change, I build it, I deliver it, and I've done it for years by strengthening our neighborhoods, growing business development, and fighting for the non-for-profits that support our families. I lead with heart, but I am not afraid of hard decisions when our community's quality of life is on the line. I want to address something up front because openness matters to me. I registered Republican, and that is a contentious letter in this current state of the economy and the nation that we're in. I come with the Rockefeller Republican tradition, practical, compassionate, fiscally responsible. I voted for Sherwood Bowler and Jim Seward and Mayor David Brenner. I stand by those votes. I do not support the current politics that we're facing, and our nation is actually undergoing a lot of attacks. But here, my focus is right here, the local needs, our neighborhoods, and real solutions. Let's be clear, Oneonta does not need more excuses or more of the same. We need action. We need accountability. We need leadership that shows up, listens, and puts people first. I am that change, I am that leader, and I'm ready to fight for every single resident of this city, as I have been doing for the past 35 years.
Good, we move to our panelists. It's Charles' turn.
So as mentioned earlier, Cooper and I are part of the Oneonta Town Gown, and as part of that, how will you work with Hartwick and SUNY Oneonta and local businesses to build a vibrant year-round community?
Ms. Montanti, you go first.
There's definitely a bad echo, so I just want to make sure that I ensure that I heard the question correctly. You're asking about collaboration with the students?
For the students in downtown.
And downtown, correct. So again, you know, in all of the management positions that I've held throughout my career, that is my #1 forte, is bringing teams together, people together, collaborating. As the mall manager for the past 14 years, I have taken on every semester students for giving them the opportunity to be part of the internship program. That is a vital part of, you know, how we as mentors can lead and, you know, develop stronger
individuals that hopefully potentially will stay in our community. Over the 14 years, actually, I would probably say that of the students that did intern, 3 of them that were SUNY individuals, actually I retained as employees, and they stayed on at least 2 years. But our community faces a lot of struggle, and the opportunities that we're not providing is the reasons why they left. In regards to development and working, with the business community, especially downtown, I'm the #1, advocate being out there trying to encourage, collaboration, bringing parties together. I'm on many boards as well. Specifically, Destination Oneonta was geared toward providing, the experience for local families and, working to promote businesses, the ones that were part of our organization. But, being a local and understanding the vibe of what's happening on the street, is my passion. I work, collaboratively with both universities and have often, meetings with the president as well as the Department of Social Affairs that helps to foster volunteerism through those organizations.
Thank you for the question. It's really great that tonight we have 2 students from the colleges questioning us, because their questions matter and they help us develop a better community. I think it's important to note that when a student comes to Oneonta, either to go to Harvard College or to SUNY Oneonta, they are now a member of our community, and we should have their voices as a part of our decision-making process. So it makes me very encouraged to see some of the actions that have already been taken to support and recognize our new community members. And that's like the Town and Gown Committee, as mentioned, and also having students as part of the commissions and boards in the city. As community members, they offer a valuable voice, and they can help shape some of our ideas and initiatives, and I think that's something as mayor that I would like to continue. In addition to that, outside of City Hall, there are a number of organizations that are supporting culture and arts and community development within the downtown and across the city. And I think those are areas where we can find commonalities between what the needs of the colleges are, Hardwick and SUNY, and find ways to collaborate even more. That's an exciting area that I'm looking forward to working on as your next mayor.
Cooper.
Thank you. So my question's a little bit more broad, just kind of, obviously, you're coming here to become the mayor of Oneonta, so what would you say is your sort of vision? What do you want to see the city become, and how will you bring the residents around it?
Sure. I've been here for about 15 years, and I love hearing stories from people that have been here for longer than that, and some people that have been here for less time than that, because they see the value in Oneonta in different ways. And I think we can find a path forward that actually meets both of those interests as far as developing Oneonta and bringing more people here. As I said in my opening statement, we need to bring people back to Oneonta, and they need to want to be here. And so in order to bring people back, we need to solve for a number of the challenges that we face as a community. Developing housing has been discussed tonight, focusing on economic development and public safety. All of those things are concerns for people thinking about where they want to raise their families or start a career if they're graduating from our colleges. And if we can answer those questions correctly, the answer means that more people will be a part of our community. And when they bring themselves to the community, they bring their ideas, their interests, their personality, and we all get to benefit from that. And so building those roads, those pathways for more opportunity in Oneonta is going to open up a tremendous amount of growth for our community. And it's something that I think we could take on in the near term, but it's also going to have a long-term benefit for us. So step 1 is, as we discussed before, finding the collaboration between the organizations that are already in place, geared towards various kinds of community development.
Being actively involved since the Dick Miller days, I mean, obviously he saw a very strong alliance that I had as being the developer at the Southside Mall. And with the resources and the strength that, we can put forth, we tried to build a team. And, the collaboration, comes down to is that we have a lot of problems in our community. And this is not just a showcase of, what we can do better or how we can, move forward. We need to move forward. But the reality is that there's a lot of problems that we need to fix within our own city government. We need to take a look at some of the standards that are existing. We need to help the Common Council to really become a really viable part of making the decisions. We've not seen that in the past. A lot of rubber stamping did happen, And those are the concerns that we need to fix first. We can, paint a pretty picture in what we want it to look like. If I had a magic wand, I would say that I would love, for all of our children that go to school here to stay here. I would love that the students would actually become, successful leaders in our community and apply their expertise and the education that they attain at the beautiful universities that we do have. But reality is that we are in a bad stoop, and I don't think that the city really realizes until you get involved. Our residents do not understand at the level of severity that we're looking at in order to fix some of these problems. And because I do have a stronghold in being a problem solver, that's what my aim to do is really to take the pause and position the city, in an ability to take a look at the comprehensive plan and the strategic plan. It's pretty concerning when you go to these meetings and they last for 4 hours, that nothing results from it besides contentiousness, and now we have a divided common council, and that's not okay. I'm a unifier of teams. We will bring my expertise and we will work together to rebuild what has failed. And a lot has failed. If you don't realize that, you really should do your own homework. You can't stand up here and just give you promises, because that's not what this is about.
We need some audience questions. Zach? Biggest box full yet. Dave Rowley.
I'm interested to hear your opinion, your support of the RSS project, in lieu of a couple of facts. One, the state of New York would suggest that an appropriate percentage for apartments set aside for people with mental health issues is 20%, not 50%. So instead of 30 apartments, it should be 12. Secondly, in the state of New York, a couple making minimum wage would not be eligible to have an apartment in that complex because it is 70% of the median income and less. Workforce housing is a very
Mr. Rowley,
big...
gotta give us the question.
That's where I'm headed.
Okay, go ahead.
So workforce housing is defined as 70% or greater. Can you please tell us where you stand on the RSS project?
This starts with Dan Butterman. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. As I stand on the RSS project, I think it's first important to note that the question's a little bit different now than it was in the spring as far as the city's participation in it. The first question in the spring when it went to the vote for the Common Council was whether or not to sell land to RSS to develop it. Now the question is, as far as the application that has been presented, if it can be successfully completed. And so as we speak tonight, it's in process, and I'm unsure though if the Planning Commission will have any kind of legally defensible reason to deny the application, which means it's going to go forward. And so to me, I think this is a good project for the city because it answers some of the questions that have been discussed tonight. But Dave, as you mentioned, some of the concerning points as far as ratios, those are things I think that need to be addressed through the process. And I was very encouraged to hear our current county representative, Don Scanlon, talk about having an open mind to it because we want to ensure safety for our community, and this is our opportunity through the process to ensure that this developer can do it successfully. Since they own the land, they submitted an application, they have a plan and a vision to go forward, our goal as a community is to help them show us that they are the right developer to do this. And I'm, in a sense, hoping that they can do that because this will be a transformative project for our community, and we definitely need it to be successful.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Rowley. As you well know, that for the past 2.5 years, I've been, and a selective group of people had major concerns, with the project being placed in the heart of the Arts and Entertainment District, which is one of my goals that I am going to be focusing in on because we do have that ability to have that here. But the RSS project from the get-go, and again, I'm looking at, the new project proposed down on River Street with the entrance on West Broadway, is another major concern. The concern is not because of that we are not allowed or don't want to give an opportunity to individuals to have housing. The concern is that, once again, we're not getting the transparency that we're asking for from RSS. When you take a look at the application, is it complete? No, you should take a look at that application. We have projects that are viable. We need low-income housing. We need mixed-use housing. We need professional housing. We're driving out our seniors because we don't have the opportunity to allow them to move into a home that is more accessible for their needs as they're aging, so they're leaving our community. So we can't just stay focused on one part of, again, another project that is going to be in our community. We have to take a look at the neighborhood and their concerns. I mean, it's time now to really sit down and listen and come to the table. I believe that our negotiation powers are zilch. We need to have a municipal lawyer that actually knows how to negotiate, come to the table, and work through the problems. Do I think RSS is a viable institute in our community? Absolutely. Do they need to be here? Absolutely. But we need to be fair to the city as well, because they will be using our services, and it's about time that we have some non-for-profits. When you take a look at 52% of our properties in the city are actually non-for-profit, not paying taxes. I mean, I don't know how much more we can give for services. We've built 450 units of low-income housing, and we are obviously a very welcoming community, and that's what we'll continue to be.
Anything to add? No. Laura Latora. Don't see anyone. Andrew Hamill.
What will either of you do for those that are, I don't know, disabled, whether mentally, physically, etc.?
Luisa?
Oh, sorry. So, again, you know, being an advocate for every individual, like from Family Services Association, being on those boards, and actually working the streets on my own. For the past 15 years, I have been talking to individuals either through the Southside Mall that show up as squatters, or we have concerns where people are homeless. I am actually addressing, you know, one-on-one, working with Catholic Charities, working with. So we need to have this collaboration. You know, mental health is a serious problem because we don't have the resources, and we're obviously going to need to work with other agencies on the outside. I had reached out to Ellis Hospital in Schenectady, and they have what they call the living room. I've been preaching this for the past year and a half, but I just can't get the right parties to the table. Working with Senator Oberacker, he had expressed the concerns also about the mental health and the homeless. And my concern is that we can still build housing, but we do nothing for our homeless in Oneonta. We're in need of a homeless shelter. We need to appropriate the correct funds to build that so that we have a safe place. The warming station on Chestnut Street doesn't help. But back to the mental health, it's a serious national problem. Everything that we're seeing here is a national problem. You know, we don't have providers, we don't have the physicians or the PAs that can actually work. I have a friend of mine who became a nurse practitioner in psychology, and she can't work here because there's not a doctor that will take her on because she has to work 2 years with a licensed doctor in that field. So there's a lot of problems, and one of the things that we can do is obviously work to your answer, Andrew, that coaching and lining you up with individuals that are in either the social services or the entities of counseling. But a lot of mentorship happens one-on-one. If you hit the streets and you start asking the questions, you're going to see the need is tremendous.
Thank you, Andrew, for the question. As far as access to social services for those with disabilities, when I was a member of the school board, I was so thankful that at times a student would have a particular need, and we had Springbrook down the road, and we had a little bit farther up the road Pathfinder, and we were able to say yes to some of those students that required services that we couldn't provide in the school buildings in Oneonta. So that way we could, one, essentially cut the check to provide the service, but also get them there, which helped keep their families together and access those services. So to me, that's a lesson in the sense that as a municipality and a government, we need to support the organizations that deliver those services and make sure that they are connecting to those that need them in our community. But unfortunately, though, we are going to be strapped in this area, and the county board, with the budget that they're trying to work through, is going to be very strained. That strain is going to trickle down and hurt our communities. And so as mayor and as leaders in our community, we need to make it very clear where the problems are going to be created because of the federal government not deciding to fund and support our communities. And where it's going to hurt us is where we're going to tell them it's going to hurt us, and we're going to keep telling them that so they can see where they're harming us and how they can fix it. Because unfortunately, we can't do anything on our own. We need to rely on our county, our state, and federal partners to provide some of these services and to fund them and make sure they are available. So that is, I think, a valuable part of the job of mayor and as a leader of this community is to make it very clear to those that can help us, that are outside of our immediate community, what they need to do to actually help us.
Josephine Becker. Amelia Williams.
Hi, everyone. As the president of Hartwick Student Government Association, it's my responsibility to ensure that students have an inclusive and safe environment on campus. When they leave into the town, how will you ensure that Oneonta continues to be an inclusive and welcoming community for people of all backgrounds, including international students and people of color?
Dan.
Oh, Amelia, it's good to see you again. And as I mentioned before, I think it's wonderful to see the students participate in decision-making in the city. And I think it was this year where the Student Government Association took the lead to negotiate a new route for the buses on campus to bring students back and forth, which I think is a good thing. Students taking the lead to solve the problems that affect them and their community, the campus community, has a residual effect and benefits our community as well. So leaders like yourself are a key part of that decision-making process. It was a few weeks ago that I was at the Latinos and News Association downtown in their party. I think bringing activities that the students enjoy down to Muller Plaza or other parts of the community is an invitation for the community to get involved as well. And so I'm hoping that we can work on more projects like that and other events that bring students and community members together, because we all start to see how we can be thankful for one another and the community that is enriched and enlarged because of it. So I'll be looking to you, Amelia, and also the other SGA leaders.
So the reality is that that's what we want, is everyone to have a beautiful community and a beautiful experience. But the word on the street from parents of students that are potentially looking for Oneonta as their next home for their students, to be here, or visitors that are happening to be in our area and are very concerned about the look and the feel of what our downtown or our city looks like. We are asking to reassess our direction and encourage that we grow our businesses downtown. Full storefronts bring more people. Obviously, the events that we put on through Destination Oneonta or a lot of the other organizations, City Hall Productions, we've always tried to include specifically participation, like in our local parades or being a part of being a volunteer for an event. So it's working hand in hand. I mean, I concur with what Dan says exactly. The thing is that, we need leaders in our community to be able to actually help us to bring you to the table. It's very fortunate that Hartwick has finally, put out, the student association that is dedicated to learning and growing and facilitating processes that are changing the world. And we are part of that change. You are part of that change. But it hasn't been the history of Oneonta to have these relationships. So I look forward to building upon those relationships and making it a better place for all of us. But we have to focus our energies on cleaning up our streets, ensuring that public safety is number one. That's what the role of city government is. It's not about a feel good, make it feel good for everybody. It's about taking the leadership, ensuring that we're being responsible, but also dedicating the time and mission and compassion to make the environment a better place for all of us to live here, not just a select few.
Becca Brooks.
So my question, kind of what you said, Louisa, about our problems are national problems too. So my question is, how would you integrate immigrants who arrive in our community? And part two is, well, for both of you, I'm sorry, if by chance we were infiltrated by ICE, what would your response be?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. That's a great question. And I think, again, back to the national politics, I will be personally telling you that I stopped watching the news because all it does is give you a panic attack on what's going to happen next. So reality is that the concerns of refugees or concerns of immigrants, I am born and raised of a family of immigrants. My family came from Sicily in the 1960s. It was a very contentious time. The 6th Ward, the lower deck, that's where they placed all the Italians. That's why it's such a strong community. I am a firm believer that everyone is equal. We welcome our neighbors. There is nothing wrong that we are having these conversations because I think America has not grown with refugees or immigrants in the longest time. I don't remember the last influx, but if anyone's ever attended Ellis Island, I'll tell you that in 1917, it was the largest number of immigrants that came from Italy. It was 17 million people, which helped to build this community, which helped to grow America. All of that and having the love and appreciation of just being a humanitarian. I mean, I'm a business person, but I'm a humanitarian first, so it's important, that we actually respect. But we also have to respect the role of government. I am not saying that I agree with any of the policies or all the policies or the disaster of what's happening to our world, but I don't want the disaster to happen here. I am born and raised here, and I'm passionate about inclusion, and I'm passionate about change, and I like to drive change. I'm a problem solver, but also comes down to that when you have when you have a community that is divided, which we are right now, this is not about you against us or them against we or who's getting housing and who's not. We have a severe problem in the United States. So, my goal is to be inclusive. And as far as ICE, it's a legal entity that we have to obviously work through. I am very strongly committed to obviously having a good relationship with. If I could just finish, I'm sorry. Having a good relationship. I've always worked closely with the state police, with our local.
That's time. I'm sorry.
Thank you for the question. It's, just tell you a little story. One of the best days of my life was November 17th, 2017. My wife is an immigrant, but on that day, she raised her hand and gave her oath of citizenship. And she didn't do it alone. She did it with 50 people in the room with her from all different countries from around the world, all saying that they choose our country as their home for their families. It was the most amazing thing I might have ever seen, and it inspires me to public service to this day, and it'll probably continue to fuel me for the rest of my life. And so with that, my family is directly benefited from the power of immigration, and it's such a gift to our community when someone comes to join us, and we have to welcome them and cherish them as the valuable people that they are for doing that. As it relates to ICE, they have already ripped families apart in our community, and as mayor, there's no way I'm going to let them do that again.
Okay, that was our last question. I'd want to do a little recap here while I wait for my other moderator to come. She has some information for you about ballot issues on the back of the ballot. Here's some of the other topics that we covered. How to connect with constituents, the biggest issues facing the area, handling disagreements, safety with people in recovery in the new development, qualifications that you bring to the job, accessory dwelling units, support for economic development, transparency, changes in zoning, changes in the code of ethics, balancing jobs and development with community needs, town and college cooperation, vision for Oneonta, support for the homeless and people in need of social services, and cooperation to make students safe and welcoming, and then our last question about immigration and ICE. So we covered a broad range of topics tonight. I hope that you were able to see and listen and hear the responses from your candidates, and that gave you information to become an informed voter. I'd like to introduce you to Hudi Podolsky, who will wrap up the rest of the evening.
Thank you, and I promise you this is going to be a quick wrap-up. First, there are so many people to thank. I particularly want to thank the candidates who've come out here tonight and exposed themselves to your questions, making democracy live. And it's not an easy thing to do, and we really appreciate their willingness to do it. It's becoming all too rare for candidates to actually face the public. I also want to thank all of you. You are democracy. You're here making democracy work. You're informing yourself, you're getting ready to become well-informed voters, and that's how democracy thrives. A big thank you to the Town and Gown Task Force and to all the people who made this possible. Looking ahead to Election Day, I just want to remind you that you need to flip your ballot over. On the back of your ballot, so on the front of your ballot will be the people who are running for office, many of whom you've seen tonight. On the back of your ballot, there are 3 city propositions and 1 important state proposition. The state proposition has to do with a land swap in the Adirondack State Park. It's a complicated issue. I encourage you to look into it. This is the land swap which will allow the Olympics Committee to use part of the land that's adjacent to other Olympics facilities, and in exchange for that, they'll give the park an actually considerably larger parcel of land. We encourage you to do just what you've done tonight, to educate yourself, to be informed voters. Early voting is already underway. There are 2 early voting sites in the county. One is in the Brenner Building, and the other is up in Cooperstown at the Meadows Complex. Thank you so much for your attention, for your good manners, and for being citizens.